Here we go. Well, hello and welcome to Talking Leeds Season 2, Episode 4, with myself, Aaron Marshall, and I was going to call you Jerry then, but it's Mr. George the Bearded Peacock Brook. Good evening, George.
Good evening, Aaron. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever the time you're watching or listening to this. Hello and welcome to everybody on Talking Leeds. Good afternoon, Aaron. And good evening, Aaron. And yes, Jerry, don't call me Jerry. There's a definite difference between myself and Jerry, Aaron. I think he wouldn't mind me saying perhaps I've got a little bit more hair than he does in both here and here. But there you go. Jerry is, a lovely bloke. He has a lot of knowledge about Leeds. I know he goes all over the place. You have been doing a podcast with him recently. So good evening to everybody. And I've got a lot to talk about today, Aaron. So I'm excited for this one.
There's tons of things to get our teeth into, isn't there, George? There's love here. It says, good evening, Michael. He's loving the new haircut, the Jack Harrison haircut, as we like to say.
Yeah, the Jack Harrison haircut. Thank you, Michael.
Evening, Colin, and evening, Dave. Let's get straight into it, George, because there's a new goalkeeper on his way. Now, I'm hoping that, seeing as though you do a podcast all about Brazilian football, you will be able to inform the listeners and the viewers who are watching live on YouTube all about Lucas Perry, because he's from Lyon, he's 15 million quid, he's Brazilian. Apparently, he's the world's greatest goalkeeper. I've looked online and I think, yes, this guy is brilliant. George, I'm going to take your word for this here. You tell the viewers, tell the listeners all about this guy, because you know him quite well, whereas I don't.
Well, quite well, perhaps, Aaron. But you've got to remember that, of course, me and James, my twin brother James, and we do. It's a good little plug, actually, and thank you for talking Brazil ball. Each week we do it. I think we're going to do one tomorrow. And obviously, we talk about Brazilian football. Lucas Perry is, of course, a Brazilian man, and he did play in Brazil, but it was slightly before me and James did commence our, podcast, and our love for the Brazilian kind of podcast football grew from there. But he played for Botafogo most recently in Brazil, and he left in 2024 to join Lyon. It was his first, foray into European football in January of 2024. He did come through at Sao Paulo, if you know of Sao Paulo, Aaron, play a handful of times in the the team managed, of course, at the moment by who's he managed by, Aaron? Who is Sao Paulo managed by? Do you know?
No.
Hernan Crespo has recently took charge of Sao Paulo. So Lucas Perry came through at Sao Paulo and then got to Botafogo. Big bloke. I mean, he's what, 6'3" or 4", I think. And what is really, really sort of noticeable about Perry is the fact that he can really launch the ball with his hands, and he can also, because he's a big bloke, he fills the frame of the goal, can get up high in the corners to save shots. Very, very reliable. He had 10 clean sheets out of 33 in Liga last season for Lyon. He played all but one of Lyon's 34 French league games last year. Very, it's a real coup, this, for Leeds. And at 15.6 million, doesn't seem a great deal, mate, to pay, really. So he's been on the cards for a long time, hasn't it? This name isn't new now to us. We've been looking at it for a couple of weeks, maybe more. Is he going to come? Is he not? It's come down to the background. Now, today, which I know we're going to discuss in a bit more detail later on, Aaron, it's been an explosion of a little bit of transfer news after 2 or 3 days of a little bit of quiet. So, Lucas Perry, I'm really delighted with his signing. He's a big up mark on Illan Meslier. And, that for me now is the end of Meslier. Lucas Perry will be the number one. I'm sure he will take that shirt from Meslier. Well.
It's an interesting one. I think it's an interesting signing because obviously we've been in the hunt for a goalkeeper. It was linked with Newcastle earlier on this in the summer window, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With a move up there, but real coup this, it seems, for Leeds. A bit of smart business, and as you say, 15 million quid is a real bargain. If you look at what Newcastle were looking for Trafford, against with Burnley, they're looking at 35-40 million quid. I know that I'm sitting in for him now, and obviously there's the English tax, as you would say, because he's English, that you'd have to pay a little bit more for him, or a lot more. And as you say, Meslier, his time is now done, isn't it, at Leeds? Would you say, John?
Oh, absolutely. And I was thinking about this today when I saw the news of Perry coming in, and I thought, well, do we actually need 2 goalkeepers here, 2 new keepers? So no, because Beren Cross of the Athletic, we know when the Athletic speaks, it's news, it's not rumours, it's actual facts. And he did say he did mention another goalkeeper within it, didn't he, as well? I think it was it the Mainz goalkeeper? His name has just escaped me just now, but I think
I'm sure somebody in the comments will let us know.
There was somebody else mentioned, wasn't there? And then I thought, are we going to buy both of these lads and then ship both Darlow and Meslier out? And then I thought, well, if it's just Perry coming in, would Meslier be all right as number 2? And then I thought, actually, no. I think Darlow will be still at the club, and I think it's curtains for Meslier now. They're actively looking to move him on, I think, and he knows it. He knows the time is up. He's only 25, I think, is Meslier. And look, he was done at Sunderland when it rolled through his legs and it went in the corner in the last second of the game. That for me was
interesting with Meslier, though. His contract does expire next year, 26. His contract expires, so this year would be the time to sell up, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely, Aaron. It'd be the time to completely sell for me, and whether he's going to get a move in the summer to the Premier League, or whether he's going to get a move to Europe, whether he's going to go back to France. I think it's for me now, Aaron. It's curtains. It's completely done. He's made too many high-profile errors, and it's time to go. Get a bit of brass for him. I think he's still within contract, isn't he? So I think it's time time for Meslier to go. And there's no ill feeling, We know we're in the Premier League now. We know we need to, I know when it happened, I said, no, don't play him ever again. He doesn't need to play.
The thing is, though, and I said this to Jerry the other day when we were on, you've got to give him his due. He's gone out to Germany. He's training with them. He's not been kept at home. He's got his head to the ground. And obviously, when he was dropped last season as well, he didn't cry. He just got on with it. He accepted it, didn't he? And he's been training and things like that. So you've got to give him a little bit of credit there. That is still pushing. I think he needs to go. He's a young lad, as you say. He's got to go, get a bit of time. Where he would go, I have no idea. Do I think we'll get... And the thing is, though, George, are we going to get big money for him? Because we're not. No. I know it's been like with Leicester, and all the Leicester fans have been kicking off. You're not going to get big money for him. We would have done, when we were in the Premier League the first time. I think we should have really cashed in then on him. But we won't get big. You're not going to get double figures.
No. I think the errors that he's made, Aaron, are far too high profile for. Yeah. You can't just ignore that as a buyer. You see him fluff it 3 or 4 times. That's enough. So for me, we're getting less than double figures.
But I think it will be a simple loan deal, maybe. Potential to go, and that'll be it. But
he's never going to pull on a Leeds shirt in a competitive game again. No. And would I just say, just to jump into the comments, hello to my missus who's on there, and she said hello. So
hello, Casafol. Good evening to you. And Colin says here with a great point here. Keepers equivalent of XP. Goals saved million -2. Perry +6. Yeah, the stats do add up for the new one coming in. But as you say, I think Darlow, he's quite happy being number 2. Wales is number 1, by the way, is Carl Darlow still. Yeah. So, he's still knocking on that door, isn't he? You'd never, he's still going to get a run out in the Cups. Let's be honest. He's still going to be number 2. Would you need 3 keepers, though? Not really.
Well, Meslier won't be number 3. I think Meslier will go. What will happen is Meslier will go, and then Darlow will come in as number 2, and he'll be happy to do that. I know he's number 1, Welsh number 1. He's done well to get into that side, but he is, he's not going to get number 1 off Perry, is he? Let's be honest. I mean, we have our man now, and it's what I love about this, Aaron, is it's 3 signings that Farker or what the journalists have said we're going to get. And this is what we're going to get. One is Perry. The goalkeeper is paramount. Forget who's going out, because I think Meslier will. And I don't care either way. He's not going to play much. Darlow will be second choice. Darlow is a fairly steady pair of hands anyway. And he's his first choice international for his country. So, then you've got Perry, and then you've got, Meslier. But then you've got the 2 more, which I believe are obviously going to be Paixão. Well, it's the other Brazilian lads, isn't it, mentioned? You've got Paixão and you've got Muniz from Fulham. They're the other 2 of the 3 main signings. But what I love about it as well, and what he said the other day, was they're making more signings on top of this to flesh out the squad. They understand the squad isn't at this moment good enough to maybe to challenge in the Premier League or to stay in the Premier League. So they're going to flesh out the squad with other signings where they feel is needed. I think that's a really smart move, although it will take the signings to a number of like 12 or 13 maybe as well.
It's needed though, isn't it? Because if you think of the Premier League season, you've obviously got your couple of cups as well to compete in as well. And I don't know, I just want to touch on a couple of the other signings which we've made over since we last spoke, George. Obviously, Sean Longstaff is coming. I think that for me is the signing of the window so far. I know you don't. I know. But we've signed a real workhorse here. We really have. And I think it's a superb signing. And I'm going to get Longstaff's going to get my backing all season long. And then on some stack as well coming, George.
Yeah. So
central midfielders. Give me your. I know your brother's a Newcastle fan, and you think I'm too fussed, but I think it's a great signing, Longstaff, and I think Stack as well is coming as well is a good signing as well. What are your thoughts on those two?
I mean, it's great. We since the last time we spoke, which was 2 weeks ago now, we've signed 3 players basically, with Perry being the third today, which I assume will be announced maybe tomorrow. So I think it's great. I think, but what I will say is also that it's great to get the bodies in. I think Longstaff is one that people are getting a bit excited about, because people think, oh, it's Premier League experience. That's what. Generally,
it is, George, and that's what you need. But go on.
It's 200 odd Premier League appearances, but for me, I don't know. You want a bit of pizzazz, don't you? You want a bit of magic in the team, don't you?
I completely agree with you. However, you need somebody who will work their ass off, and they'll do a lot of work, do a lot of running off the ball, and I think Longstaff does that, and he does it really well. He's a real workhorse, which we've signed here, and I think it's a great signing because you've got that experience, and you've got that somebody who will go to the trenches when you need him to. That's what I think you get him with Longstaff.
Yeah, that is.
You need that. It's a bit like Liam. I'm not saying Liam Cooper. You know I was a big Liam Cooper fan.
Absolutely.
But you've got that same mentality. He will give his all.
Yeah, he will give it all for the cause. Well, we know this, and that's really good. But he's not the most attractive of options if you look at it.
But again, you can argue that all the time. But if you look at the last time we were in, and we're thinking, all right, we've signed Sinistera, we've signed I don't know, Aronson, these brilliant superstars, and it didn't work out for them. You look at Ruter for an extent, you think, 40 million quid. He's the best asset in Europe, and he, for the first part of his tenure, that first 6 months, he was a flop for Leeds. Was Ruter. We all Leeds fans agree with that. But I do think it's like what Carl says here. Longstaff is a good signing, helping us to build a squad to stay up. Then in a few years we can upgrade. We're never going to get 10, 40 million pound players this summer.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what leads me on to it, George. Is that we don't have endless amounts of money, and you've got to be signing quality players to keep you in the league.
Yeah, this is it. You've got to be smart. Carl makes a good point. We can't make 10 times 40 million pound players signings, because that'll put you bankrupt. So, I think it's a steady signing, but I think it's one that it might not get the juices flowing in terms of it's exciting. What's he going to do here? It's just a knuckle down and get the job done, basically.
But if it gets you to 17th, it's success.
Exactly. And I'm not opposed. Don't get me wrong, Aaron. No, I'm not opposed to the sign of Longstaff. I think it's a smart bit of business. It just doesn't get my juices flowing.
I'm not a betting man, George, but I bet you Longstaff will play more games than the majority of our midfielders this season if he stays fit.
He definitely will. He definitely will. And I think Jimbo says, I hope Mr. Fark doesn't forget about Tanaka, and he won't. But it seems evident to me, particularly with the signing of Anton Stack the other day, is that he's going large on the midfield. He wants to play 3 in midfield, and this is what I understand from the game on Saturday against Man United. Is like he's going to go 3. Because I was thinking, if we sign Stack and Longstaff and keep Gruev, Ampadu, and Tanaka, how is he going to pick 2 out of them? So now he's largened it to 3. So he's then got 2 lads sitting on the bench, but he can interchange it. I don't think any of these boys are going to throw the dummies out and say, "Hey, I'm not playing more than him." I think they'll gladly sit on the bench for the cause, even if it's Longstaff. I don't know. At the current 5,
the thing is, with what Fark, which he's got to get really right this year, this season, he's got to get his subs right. If he gets that right and he's got options on the bench, it's only going to help him. You've got Stack, Longstaff, Tanaka, whichever midfielders are on the bench and who's out on the starting 11, it's giving you options. You can change a game. If you're chasing a game, you've got options. If you're having to defend for your lives, you've got options. But also, we've got to remember, with all these giants which we're signing, set pieces are going to be crucial for us this year. And if you look at all these 6 foot plus players which we're signing, surely to God, we can, number one, beat the first man at a corner, and 2, compete in set pieces, because that's something which we have not done for years, George. And I'm talking, this is before the Bielsa era. We've been really struggled. The last time I think we were quite good, I would argue, was under Gary Monk, when we had Janssen and Carl Bartley at the back.
Yeah.
That's, you had a bit of an aerial threat there with those two. And that's going back, 2016? Is it 2016 that? 2016, 15, 16? So we're talking, 10, 11 years ago, when we had that little bit of threat. So I think, you can see what they're doing at Leeds, and it's quite smart. And I just hope that we've got options, which is good.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, they've obviously got a game plan now. And like you said, forgive the pun, but stacking the midfield it can only be good. And the likes of Stat, Carl says he's a sign in the summer. What a player to get for a team just promoted, and the money we paid. Next summer, he'll be valued at 30 million plus. And I think Stack has gone under the radar as well, because I don't think a lot of people understand quite the player what he is. So we're going to see this in spades as the season goes on. And it's a very smart signing again. Out of the 5 of them, I really can't pick, but I would say that as it is, Ampadu is on the bench with Gruev. And the 3 that start are Longstaff, Stack, and Tanaka. So and then you've got the 3 up top. For me, the attacking signings, and probably the ones that we're leaving to the last, aren't we? Here, obviously.
Yeah. And the ones which normally come available out there, your more attacking players come up late, traditionally later on in the year. It's that domino effect, isn't it? You start to see some movements a couple of weeks before. When we signed Bamford and Pirot, if I remember, Pirot was quite late on in the window a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Same with Bamford, he was quite late on when we signed him. And those were the only real kind of out-and-out number 9s which we went in the market for, weren't they? So... which leads, can I just add, great chat, by the way, about midfield. If you want to get involved with our fantasy football, you can. If you're listening on the pods, I'll give you the code. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it on there. Jot it down. We'll tweet it out. If you want to join the Talking Leeds fantasy football team, the league, George is on there, Aaron's on there, Jerry's on there, we're all on there. It is TQH3YI. So there you go. You can have your say within the old fantasy. I'll keep that on there for a bit while you get that down. But go on, George, what are you saying?
When should I pick my team out? When's the deadline?
You can now. You can, before the season starts.
Fair enough. So we could still make signings, of course. But I think the attacking, like you said, it's the right thing. What you said, Aaron, is obviously more attacking options come towards the end of the window, and Leeds are right to just. And I always get frustrated when it says Leeds are watching the situation. Well, how long do they need to watch it for before they make a move? But it's all very tactical. It's all very, things that we don't obviously as supporters get to be privy to really. But they're just kind of waiting to see what happens. In terms of the Pacquiao deal, basically it looks as if Marseille are getting a bit of they can't afford it maybe, and if for me they can't afford it, they're stalling and they're waiting to see what happens afterwards, because Leeds, I think somebody else will come and get him, and I don't want Leeds to wait for Pacquiao and then it doesn't happen. But no doubt it would be a Rafinha-esque signing, wouldn't it? To be fair, it would be. Yeah.
Well, again, I'm not going to say I don't know much about him. You know this, George. You know the European leagues much better than me.
Yep.
Again, he's got some great stats out there. Marseille, it's stalled, hasn't it?
They can't afford it. They can't afford it. They can't afford the deal. They they're gonna, the waiting and waiting and sort of hoping that maybe they're the only option, but Leeds aren't going away clearly because it keeps being mentioned that Leeds.
What they've got to do here, George, is quite simple: get the deal done. If you're going to rate this transfer window, George, and I'm quite interested in what people say in the comments, what would you rate out of 10 so far?
So we signed what, 6 players? Perry would be the 7th.
Do you want me to tell you who we've signed? We've got Stack, Bijol, Longstaff, Goodmanson, Bornau, Nemecha. Harrison's back as well from the end of his loan deal.
Perry would be the 7th.
Parent would be the 7th. You don't really count Harrison, but he's
but it's almost like a new signing now because he's been on loan 2 years. Yeah. And I think Harrison will stay. I know there's talks of Ramazani going out on loan to Greece, but
to where?
To Greece.
Greece?
Yeah.
Why?
So he's Ramazani largely has apparently turned down all of these approaches from European sides. Obviously, because he wants to play in the Premier League, and I don't see why Fark would let him go. Even if we bought in Pak Shao, I think, like you said, you need strength in depth, options off the bench to try and get back into games or shut up shop in games. You need all sorts of players to do that. So I think Rama needs to stay. I think he needs to stay. And but there has been interest apparently in him elsewhere. But yeah, I think if you're marking it out of 10, I'd probably say 6.
6.
Yeah.
God, I've seen online a lot of people have been going, it's 8 out of 10 so far for Leeds. I think my rating would be, I'd give it a solid 7 at the moment, because the key thing for us is the striking department. We need a number 9. We need a target man. We don't need to be, looking for potentials. It's got to be a complete target man, number 9. I think depending on what happens with Harrison, I think we could do with the wing of Paxo. I can't pronounce his name. Anyway. Pachau. If he comes in, great. Mano Solomon. For me, of the two, I've got a little bit of loyalty with Solomon. If that came off,
look, if we didn't get Pak Shao and we got Solomon, I won't be disappointed. Solomon has shown in the Premier League he can do it. He showed it with us last season. Look, he won us the league with that goal. He really came into his own, particularly in the second half of the season. He was unplayable at times.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
So, I'd be quite happy to see Manor sign, for us on a permanent basis. But I think if you look at it between him and Pak Shao, even if that's even a thing that Leeds are doing, I think you've got to look at Pak Shao and say, if it's doable, do it, because this guy is putting up some real good numbers. I think 16 goals, was it, and 10 assists or something like that last season. You can argue all you like about the Eredivisie, but I think, he's still playing in the Champions League. And I used to do a podcast about the Eredivisie as well, Aaron, just by myself. I just got the bug for it a bit. And I know of Pak Shao because he's played there for about 3 years now, and I've followed him from Feyenoord. I quite like Feyenoord as a team, so I was a little bit invested in their side. So Pak Shao it's a Rafinha-esque signing, and I think that he would be a real game changer here for Leeds. Whether they can get it done, I don't really, and I want to get your thoughts on it as well, Aaron, I don't really know much about the striker they're going for, no Muniz, but he, of course, another Brazilian, came through Flamengo. So it's exciting for me to see all these Brazilian players involved. Yeah,
I think Muniz, Fulham 33 appearances last year for them, 8 goals off the top of my head in the Premier last season. Again, with this play, he's just getting that Premier League quality. You've got somebody who's done the business. If he can return 8 to 10 goals, it's a success in the Premier. If he dropped out the Championship and got double figures, then great. But you got to think you're getting somebody who's proven goal scorer here, and that's what I think is important, and it's what's needed. Let's be honest, because especially, and the reason why, and I always keep going on about it, you need that Premier League quality. somebody who knows the league, knows how to score goals. That's all. That's important. And you can't really buy that for less than 40 million quid. So
and I think
it's a good deal if we get that done.
I think Muniz. I mean, I know it hangs on whether Fulham sign a new striker, and it's looking likely. Which you're on about these dominoes, Aaron. It's looking likely like Mr. Isak is wanting to leave Newcastle, and when he ends up at Liverpool, it would really put the cat amongst the pigeons in between both my brothers, because they've been at each other's throats about it recently. But I think if basically Newcastle have been linked with Nunez in the past as well, in the last sort of month or so as well. Would that mean that they then go for Nunez?
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing, isn't it? It's a real head scratcher for him and for the board to get this on. I just want to touch on other than Nunez. I want to touch on, because we haven't really mentioned the departures, and I just want to get your thoughts on this. Mr. Bamford, George, is gone. He's done, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Matteo, just let's talk about Bamford first, George. He's not in Daniel Farke's plans. He is going to. I think, is he in England training alone or something? I don't know, wherever he is. Anyway, Bamford.
Yeah, good riddance, basically. You know, you know, it's about 2 years too late, maybe for Patrick to go. I think. Look, you know, there's no doubt Patrick is you know, he did his bit for the club.
Yeah.
He's long past doing his bit, but he did his bit in a time where we needed him, and he scored goals. Yes, he's had a bit of a colourful relationship with the fans, but ultimately he scored goals when we needed him to. He had that fantastic year in the Premier League in our first year back. 17 goals was unbelievable, really, to get into the England squad, to get an England cap. You know, he must be incredibly proud of himself, and he should be for that. But he's long since passed it, and he's been taken up a wage for far too long in that team. And there's no disrespect really there. He just needed to go, and I'm glad actually Farke has had the kind of the knackers here to say, look, I'm sorry, mate, but you're not good enough, and we don't need you about. It's what we needed a couple of years ago with some of these players, really.
Yeah, it's a bit of connections that, you know, one of the former Bielsa eras, but they all couldn't stay forever. We get that, but all I can say is, Patrick, thank you. You've been a loyal servant to the club. We wish you all the very, very best. And I'm sure
you know,
that, George. You shouldn't say good riddance, because he's been a real loyal servant for the club, and it hasn't worked out as it should have done. But you know, he's worn the shirt. He's worn the shirt. He's done his due. Good luck, and I'm sure the majority of Leeds United fans will wish him all the very best, because deep down he's a good player. He's just got to find his form, get back to his old Bamford-esque under Bielsa, back to his old self. That's what he needs, doesn't it?
Well, he does, and you know, like Jimbo says, he finished his career on stage with the Kaiser Chiefs, and then what better way to go out than that? You know what I mean? He went out in the right way. It was like Firpo, you know, went out in the right way, Aaron, didn't he? You know, he won promotion. He goes out as a hero. All right, he barely played and he didn't score a goal, but he was still part of that squad, and he was probably more in the dressing room than anything that we can see as supporters. Yeah. So I think, you know, Pat had his time. I think nobody can begrudge him he did well for us. He scored goals. That season under Bielsa in the Premier League was absolutely unbelievable, really. The fact that he was actually becoming like a Premier League goal scorer, which he'd struggled for so long before in the past, in his short spells in the Premier League on loan and stuff. Yeah. And then I was so happy for him to score all them goals and get the call up, and he just went to pot after that. Really, he couldn't find injuries. Very much a confidence player, and didn't seem to have the
once you had a confident Bamford, you knew you were going to win the game, and that's the key thing.
I think that's it. You know, and like you said, ultimately he's a good player. He's a good finisher, and you know, if somebody can get his arm around him and say, "Hey, look, you're a good player," you know. you know, and you can do it and be like
That's what I think Bamford needs, isn't it? Now he needs somebody, you know, a coach or a manager to put his arm around him and say, "Look, you're my number 9." Like what Fark said, he said, "Look, you're not my number 9. You're not going to be my starter. You're not anywhere near it." And he's had that honest conversation with him. He needed him last year, you know, clearly did. But, you know, as I say, we wish him all the best. Like what Carl says, like what George said, it was 2 years too late. We wish him all the best. Comes across as a really good bloke. So hope he does well wherever he goes. And I'm sure we'll all keep an eye on it wherever he goes.
Great to see him rock up and score goals, you know, in the Championship or wherever he's going to go, because he's like you said, Aaron, he Fark can't give him that number 9 that he needs. That we forget he's still only 31. He's still got a few years to give.
Yeah.
Obviously not at Leeds, and we need a number 9. We need a man who can score goals. If it is Muniz, and he gets 8 to 10 goals next season, that'd be great, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? That would really help out.
Because ultimately, we can see how this team's how it's setting up. They're going to be equally spread across that attacking line. Your wingers, Muniz or whoever. But speaking of a striker which doesn't want to be at Leeds United is Mateo Joseph. Now, he has said to Fark he wants to move away. He's had enough. What are your thoughts on him, George? Because I know a lot of Leeds fans are saying, "I'll just get rid, sell him," but Leeds are holding out here for a firm fee, really, for what they want for him. But what are your thoughts on Mateo Joseph? Because looks as though he's not going to be at Leeds for much longer.
Yeah, and I'm not really fussed that he's not going to be at Leeds any longer, Aaron, to be honest. I think Fark's it right. He doesn't set the fees for these players, and he's not the one buying and selling them in terms of doing the dealing. He might pick them or choose them to go, but he's not doing the dealings. And Leeds obviously rate him at a certain price, and teams aren't hitting that. But in terms of what I think he will go eventually, they'll be sold. And for me, I don't really. I'd like to see that in terms of Muniz come in and be the main striker. I'd like to see a secondary striker as well. I know we've got Namisha and Perot, but maybe you want to or maybe we don't actually. If you look at that, then if you look at it's Muniz or somebody else, and then it's Perot and then Namisha, maybe we have enough with those 3. But I think Mateo Joseph would have added something else to it. But he's been given enough chances, and he's not been doing it, Aaron. He's not done anything much to speak of. Yeah, he scored a couple of goals, but why? You're going to score goals if you get opportunities on the pitch and you're playing as a striker. So, for me to go and say, I want to leave. Well, sod you. We would have sold you anyway. You're not that important. He's going off and making that he's so important to the team that you're going to really lose out if you lose me. I want to go. Well, you're not that important to the team. You haven't really done much to warrant a transfer. And whatever fee we get from him, mate, I don't even think he's probably worth that. So,
it's one of those. I actually for once agree with you, George, because for me, Mateo Joseph hasn't done it. As you say, he had countless chances at the beginning of last season. He didn't. Nothing really worked for him. Plays fantastic for the Spanish under-21 side. A brilliant player, but he can't transfer it into his league form. I don't know. With this one, is it because the Championship is too physical? Perhaps, I don't know.
I don't know, because
it's the physicality of it. Because if you look at him, he's not, doesn't hold, it just doesn't work for him. It didn't work in the Championship. And you think, well, actually, if it doesn't work in the Championship, where's it going to work for you?
Yeah, I don't think it really worked in the formation that Fark was playing either. I don't think he worked as a lone striker. He needed a partner. He needed somebody to feed off, and it just didn't work. I think for me, he doesn't deserve to demand a fee. He doesn't deserve, in my eyes, to demand a transfer from Leeds, because who cares? We're not really going to miss him so much.
But ultimately, again, you got to look and think, right, well, which club's going to pay? Leeds are holding out for 10 million plus for it.
I think so, yeah. which is ridiculous. Really.
But from the club side, they've invested in, they brought him years ago. They've invested in his training, they're giving him opportunities, etc., giving him a big deal on his contract as well.
Yeah,
they do want a return for the investment they've made, but I don't think Leeds will realistically get 10 million quid for him, because we haven't seen a 10 million pound player play for Leeds. For the Spanish under-21s, yes, but for Leeds, no. I think the best deal for Joseph would be to either sell him and whack on a massive sell-on clause of 20% plus, or send him out on loan, go and learn your trade, and then potentially come back. But it seems to me that Mateo Joseph has made his mind up. He wants to go to Spain. He wants to go join Mr. Firpo in Real Betis. Go and enjoy yourself, pal. But they've got to pay the due. You can't just have him for nothing.
Like Fark said, they've got to pay up. They've got to. He's not the one setting the transfer fees or doing whatever. He needs to. They need to pay up, whoever wants to pay for him, because otherwise he'll just. But also, you don't want a player who doesn't really want to be there, and you want to sell up at some point, don't you? So teams will probably wait, and then think he's still at Leeds. He doesn't want to be there. Well, let's knock down the price, because you don't want a player at your team that doesn't want to play there, and he's come to
once you've got a sour grape in the budget, it's all that.
Exactly, you know what I mean. So we don't want to. We don't want it.
Like what Ian says here, he's got 3 years left on his deal at Leeds. Leeds hold all the cards. It's simple. I completely agree, Ian. And hopefully they'll get whatever they want. And Dale says here, we should never do business with Real Betis now, because they're absolute chances, which he says, which they are. But interesting, isn't it, George, with how that one's playing out? But he's had his head turned, and ultimately somebody said to him, just leave.
And
leave.
The thing is, you just do your duty, and if you get a move, you get a move. If you don't, you knuckle down. Look, he's 21. He really realises he's not going to get much of a go in the Premier League, really, particularly when we bring in a star man for 30 million plus. He's not realistically going to get a chance. So. But the worst thing you can do in terms of the fans and stuff as well is say, like, I want to leave, because damn, we've just been promoted. I know that. Where else would you want to be? You know what I mean? You'd want to fight for your chance in the Premier League, surely, but he's just taking the easy option out for me and saying, I want to go back to Spain. But
do you know, it's a great point here what Ian said. Loan him to Rangers. He bangs in a few goals and his stock increases.
Yeah.
They're still in the Champions League. The 1-2-0 against Panathinaikos, was it? They were playing the other day. It potentially could be in there. But I'm quite interested that we see a bit more connection with Rangers.
I know it's nothing to do with us, but Rothwell went there, but he was not.
Apparently playing the blinder on his debut, apparently.
He's going to, as they say, he's going to cook in that league, because he's far too good for the Scottish Premier League. Really. I know Rangers is, an established team in that, and they've got what is his name as the manager, haven't they?
Martin, yeah.
Well, they'll do all right, because Rothwell and some of the other players have brought in, I think what I've seen is Max Aarons and all that, they're far too good for the Scottish Premier League, aren't they? So he'll do all right there, and he'll get success, and that's good, because he was never going to sign for Leeds, was he, Rothwell? No. And he was just one of them, a bit like Solomon probably is going to be in the end. Is just a fella to get us up, and then say goodbyes and they move on. But good luck to him, and that's a good point for me. And like you said, I think that's maybe we should. I know it's not especially a connection between the two sides, just because they're owned by the same slight owners of the same clubs.
But they've got to use it. If you look at Manchester City, you look at their model, the multi-club models and things like that. It's time to see how we do. For me, I'd love to see our youngsters get up there and get a little bit of first-team action. But hey, we'll leave that to that. Yeah, George, one thing that we need to say, which is back for this brand new season, it's this. First Tanaka time of the Premier League season, George. Tanaka time, what's caught your eye this week in the world of sport or anything else?
Well, I mean, we always, as I always like to do, Aaron, is keep it Leeds United based and keep it Leeds United themed. And what I'd like to discuss this time, is the trip to Germany.
Mm.
Leeds United are currently, and I think they're still in Germany, aren't they?
Yeah, pre-season tour, yeah.
And what I would like to to sort of ask the viewers or say to the viewers is what is who is everybody's favourite German who played for Leeds? Who can you name any real
Germans to play.
exciting German players? Or I mean, of course, Anton Stack has just signed.
Yeah.
But can you name any German players that played for Leeds? Who is your favourite?
Robin Koch.
Koch.
He was shit.
No,
Felix Wiedwald, he was shit. So this doesn't look good, George.
yeah, but Stack is one, isn't he? And and who
Yeah.
watched I know we're not allowed to watch, but who watched the highlights of the game the other day? I mean,
Oh God, the other German as well. I've just thought was Lasogga German.
I think Lasogga is German.
God,
Yeah.
so we've got Wiedwald, Lasogga, Koch. Oh, doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good. German players. Stack well, can't say Stack and he hasn't in play yet. So I don't know. It doesn't really look good, George, when you've said that.
No, but I just wondered if anybody had found any from the past that they'd found enjoyable.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
That's the law.
I thought there'd be more than that actually, but
I'm sure some of the comments will tell us, but I've just had a quick look on transfer market. Foreign players from Germany. Obviously, we've got Nemecha and Stack in, and then according to this, Robin Koch, Felix Wiedwald, and Pierre-Michel Lasogga.
Right, yeah, no, but obviously that, like you said, two in the currency, but Nemecha does sound when he hear him talk, he sounds like he's from England, doesn't he? Basically,
yeah.
I know he was born in Germany, wasn't he? But
I think that my Tanaka time has to be the Lionesses. They're into their final of the Euros. George, great effort from them, and I hope they go and win it. They're playing Spain on Sunday, and I hope that we go and beat them. So
really, I think they need to work on the penalty shootout, don't the penalty game, don't they? But that's the way it is. I mean, if they win, they win. If they don't, then Spain win. You know what I mean? And it's one of them, isn't it? I think it's great that the women's game is getting more and more traction and more involvement and more people watching. It's really, really good. But I haven't seen any of it. I must be quite honest.
I got involved with the quarterfinals. Great penalty shootout, by the way. It was horrific to watch, but great when you watch it back. And obviously, they beat the Italians, and hopefully they can go and beat the Spanish and bring it home. So we wish all the Lionesses all the very, very best, and hope they bring it home. Right, George, I have got the quiz coming up for you as well, but I think we've talked a lot about transfers. We've played one game against Manchester United in Sweden. What were your thoughts on that 0-0 draw against Scunchester United, George? Because I think it was a great game for Leeds. I think Leeds looked better than Manchester United in that relegation derby in Sweden.
Well, from what I saw, I thought Leeds played all right. Yeah, I think Almiron, what's his name? Almiron, that manager. He said that they were surprised. I think they were underestimating us a little bit, to be honest. I know it's just a friendly, and they say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just a friendly." But yeah, they played pretty poorly, I think, and they did have a good side down. Looks like the same old from Man United. They're probably not going to do that much. I know they signed Mbuemo, haven't they now? But for me, from what I saw and what I heard and people saying that actually Leeds played well and Leeds took it to them. And it's a good barometer. I don't care if it's a friendly or not. You're still playing. You're still playing against the Premier League side. They're not giving it up and just saying, "Hey, you can have it." They're giving it a go as well. So for me, that's a kind of quite a good barometer of where the squad is and where the squad wants to be and how much the squad want to fight, even in a friendly game. And they look fresh. They look fresh. The kit looks great on Saturday, didn't it, as well? And it does in person as well. And and they all look fresh and ready for it. So
I want to mention Jaden Bogle for me because it really caught my eye. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and I hope this year in the Premier League he just doesn't get caught out too much.
yeah,
I don't mind now and then. You think, whoever's who's up against, but you just think if you can do that for 30 games, brilliant. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I was saying that Bogle was initially, even in the opening 10 minutes or so, was getting plaudits from the fans on
so lively, lively.
He was very, and this is what he is, and I think I love watching Jaden Bogle play, and I enjoyed obviously when Firpo was on the other side in the Championship, but different beast in the Premier League, and he will be lively, but whether he can keep that up for 90 minutes every single game, which he's not going to do, but whether he can keep it up on the more than he doesn't, I don't think he can.
Yeah,
because I think it's all well and good being explosive and stuff, but can you track back? Because we're going to be doing a lot more defending this year than when we're.
And this is what I was going to lead on to. You just think actually, the attacking presence he's got is fantastic, but you just hope that when the back's against the wall and you've got to put your ass on the line and get back and defend, because you are going to be up against that for what? At least 10 out of the 20, 10 of the 19 teams you're going to face. You've got to really step up and be able to defend strongly. And the attacking thing, the only way to win goals is if you score more goals than your opponent. But there will be times when it's very edgy, very close, very tense, and he'll need to do it. But I just think he was fantastic.
He looked very good, Aaron. But yeah, I think you answered your own question there. I think he will need to do a lot more defending. Whether he can stay up to the level of defending as he's attacking, because I've no doubt he will bomb down that right hand side. And he might score 1 or 2 goals, and he might set up a few as well. But I think ultimately his outlay in defence is going to be more important than his numbers in attack, because we need it. We're going to need him a lot more than we did in the Championship. And he needs to be better. I'm seeing a lot of Goodmanson. I know he's going to be the first choice left back, isn't he, as well? So hopefully he'll be in a similar vein of a better defender really than Firpo was, because let's be honest, Firpo wasn't the best defender either, was he? No. So but that's what fullbacks are nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah.
To be honest, if you go further into the squad, the likes of Byron, we don't really want to see anywhere near it really, and Schmidt, who knows how he would fare as well. See, I don't know who said it earlier up. They'd like to see another fullback added into the team. I don't know whether we really, in terms of numbers,
I think they'll go with what they've got. I think from what they've done so far, in obviously the goalkeeper is coming in imminently. If you look at that back four, they've clearly strengthened that, and then they've moved into it. So we'll have to see. George, right? It's been a while since we've done this as well. The Leeds United Trivia Challenge is also back. 5 questions, George, for you based on Leeds United. And my category this week is the 2014 summer transfer window. That's the rating of when I gave it 0 out of 10 in the ILS 7 days, if you can remember that one. So I thought I'd bring it back. So please cover up your comments. Get involved if you want in the comments section. 5 questions, George. Let's see how your knowledge was under the Chileno era.
Excellent.
2014, when that madman literally caused chaos. Right. So, question 1, George: which Italian centre back joined Leeds in the summer of 2014 and quickly became infamous for rash tackles and moments of madness?
Belushi.
It was. Well done. 1 point to you. Question 2. Now, this for me was the best signing under Chilino. Leeds signed Suleiman Dukara in 2014, but which country was he originally from?
Oh.
I rated him. He got that worlder.
Yeah, he was great. I know. I met him. I saw him one time in the centre of Leeds. I mean, you couldn't miss him. He's a absolute unit of a man, and I think he was getting his watch
is he
fixed.
still playing? He was getting what?
He was getting his watch fixed. He was going to is it Timson's or something like that? In the middle of Leeds by the Trinity Centre, and I thought, there he is.
Where is he from? Where was he born? He's currently still playing, by the way.
He's playing in Turkey, is he?
He is in the Turkish Cypriot. Gonyeli Spor Klubu.
I want to say he was French, but
you're right, he was French.
He was born in France.
He was born in France.
He plays for, I think he played for Myanmar or Mari. Which does he play for?
He plays for Mauritian national team.
Yeah, which is like, I wonder why, but I thought he was French. Yeah.
Okay. Question 3: which of the following players was not signed by Leeds in the 2014 window? So, was it Nicky Jose, Mirko Antonucci, Adrian Oliveira, or Kemar Roof?
Which one was not signed in the 20?
Not signed. So, Jose Antonucci, it was Kemar Roof. He was signed in 2016 from Oxford.
Yeah.
Question 4: which goalkeeper joined from Chievo in 2014?
Chievo
number 1 under Chilino.
What was the end of it?
Who was the Leeds number 1, pretty much?
Oh, it was Marco Silvestri.
It was. I met his bird once. I've told you this tale before.
Yes.
At Blackburn away, she was stood next to me. She was a very nice lady.
She loved going into the away end.
Yeah.
And
she was there.
Was he playing then?
He was playing there. Yeah, Blackburn away. There's 7,000 Leeds fans, and I was stood next to Silvestri's bird. What are the odds of that?
She loved it. Yeah, she loved it going in the away end.
She was there constantly. Question 5, the final one. You could go for a full house here, George. How many Italian players did Leeds sign in the summer of 2014?
You know what? This one might trick me up, but
I'll give you a bonus point if you can name them all as well.
See, I want to say 4.
Okay. Name of the 4, and I'll give you the point.
Because, Silvestri, Antonucci, Bianchi,
and
Belushi.
There you go. You got yourself 5 points, George. First time ever. The answer was 6. I'll give you the 6. Belushi, Silvestri, Bianchi, Benedicti.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't Italian.
Antonucci and Del Fabro.
Del Fabro was, I think. Benedici was.
Okay. Quick. Good evening to you, Clive. Which of those 6 was the signing? Which were the best signing we made? Because I can't make I think they're all crap.
So what? You've got Silvestri,
Antonucci, Belushi.
Antonucci was the best one by a mile. Although actually Silvestri was probably close. Actually, having said that,
God, he was poor. Is he still hanging around these days?
Yeah, he was playing for Udinese. I think.
Is he still playing for them?
I know he was for some time, but he got into the Italian national side, didn't he?
How? I've no idea how he did that.
But I like
it was on loan at Sampdoria.
Oh, was he? Oh, wow.
Last year. I'm just having a look at his Wikipedia. Sampdoria in Serie B, and then it's gone to, and then Empoli.
Oh, Empoli. Was he on loan?
Yeah, he was there. Got them relegated. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I know he. Oh, what did he do? He missed.
It was just horrific, George.
He made a
They all were.
really, really like high-profile error in one of the games. I think for Empoli, and they got relegated. Did they, Aaron?
Yeah,
Yeah.
great player. What else was it? Bianchi. Now these are the sick
George,
notes.
it seems ages ago. Yeah,
Well, it was only what 10 years, 12 years ago.
10 years ago.
Bianchi,
Yeah.
he was one of the sick note
He
six, wasn't
was.
he?
Yeah, he was poor, poor.
Del Fabro was Antonucci. Was Antonucci a sick note 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was.
No. See, look how far we've come. This is
There
what we.
was. There was. I think Bianchi, Ducara, Ed
Yeah.
Carney.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Del Fabro.
Mm,
Berardi was the only one who avoided him. Yeah, I think
yeah.
Berardi wasn't one of them, was he?
No.
I can't remember who it was.
Well,
No.
well, all I can say is that for me in modern time was one of the worst summer transfer windows. That's why I thought I would do a little quiz on that. Boosh. There you go, George. That was your trivia quiz. 5 out of 5 for you. Let us know how you got involved in the comments.
Oh, I thought it was them. Now, question for you, Aaron. It's the sick note 6. Who were we playing at the time?
Charlton.
Yeah. And who was the players then?
Well, I can't remember all of them. What for was Silvestri in the sick note 6?
Yeah, he was.
God, yeah. Right, okay. Right, I've got it here on Wikipedia. He was one of the 6 signings who controversially pulled out the squad. So it was Mirko Antonucci, Giuseppe Belushi, Suleiman Ducara, Dario Del Fabro, Edgar Carney. Where's he playing these days?
No idea.
My God, he's had a lot of teams. Where's Crema?
No idea.
In Italian Serie B, who also got relegated. They're in Serie D. There you go. There you go. What a useless guy he was. George, we don't know when Leeds are playing again, so we can't do any predictions for the preseason. But we would like to do a little watch along, wouldn't we, George? Let's tell
Yes. Well, yeah. The next preseason game is a week on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Villarreal, isn't it? So
yeah. If you're not going to the game, you can watch me and George talk about it for an hour and a bit.
Or the one in Dublin on the 9th of.
We could do 2. See how one goes first, George. But a massive. But we'll wrap the things up there. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in and watched us live on YouTube. Don't forget as well, if you want to get involved in the Fantasy Premier League, the code is on screen. You can catch us on X if you want to get the code as well to the Premier League Talking Leeds Fantasy Group TQH3YI if you're listening on the pods. But George, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully when we speak next week, we'll have lots more to discuss, and hopefully we'll get a few more signings through the door.
Yeah, hopefully, Aaron. It's starting to take shape, like you said, and now, maybe next week, by the time we speak again, maybe a couple more in, including Perry as well. Maybe we've got Pak Shao down the line, now. Who knows? But it's all hotting up. There's a few more to speak about that Baron Cross said as well to keep an eye on. There was a lad from Strasbourg and the lad from Leicester. I think Il Canus, but I can't remember the lad from Strasbourg. I can't remember his name. But
well, there you go. From me and Jack Harrison sat in his living room. Thank you for watching. Do give us a like. Do give us a subscribe. Do share us. And let's get up to 500. We want to reach 500 subscribers. It's a real big deal, and it would mean a lot to us if you could share, give us a little bell thing. Is it the bell thing you need to do? Subscribe to us. We'd appreciate that. And we will see you guys next week. Ciao for now.
See you next